Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for making time for another edition of Midday Live with me, AC Benewa Otu. Ahead in the headlines. Forestry Commission Task Force intercepts 19 trucks of illegal lumber in a special operation in Accra. This afternoon, we will explore whether agencies tasked with protecting Ghana's remaining forests are doing enough. Migration experts call on African government to create job opportunities for the youth to help fight illegal migration. And on the foreign front, U.S. senators passed sweeping tax cuts bill, paving the way for Donald Trump's first big legislative victory. Details of these, including other stories, all coming up in the next 1 hour. Stay with us. Now, and the Forestry Commission Task Force has intercepted 19 trucks of illegal lumber in a special operation in Accra. Each truck contained different species of lumber, including rosewood, that were illegally caught with chainsaw operators from various parts of the country.
The exercise, according to the Forestry Commission, was informed by recent market survey that uncovered astronomical increase in illegal lumber sale. The Forestry Commission says the high number of chainsaw or illegal lumber in the open market is premised on indiscriminate felling of trees. Both Ghanaians and foreign nationals are engaged in illegal lumbering in spite of a nationwide ban, according to the Forestry Commission. As a result, the Commission has mapped out new strategies, including the recruitment and training of personnel to detect and arrest perpetrators. The first major operation by the task force resulted in the interception of 19 trucks loaded with different species of chainsaw lumber in Accra. The trucks have been taken to the Forestry Commission depot at Achimota Forest, together with the lumbers, pending further investigations to determine the actual species of lumber and the street value.
We've asked our workers in the field to also be very vigilant. So we are sending message to those who are involved in illegal logging that any lumber or log that they bring onto the market illegally, they will be arrested on the road. So we advise them to desist from that.
About half of the seized trucks contained burned rosewood. So how far can the Commission go to end the illegal practices?
Anybody found to be complicit in dealing with illegal logging will definitely be sanctioned. We are also making sure that when the trucks are arrested, we want to go back and find out where did the truck pass before getting to this place, and find those who are on that road and be able to apply sanctions to those people.
Owners of the trucks and lumber are to be charged after investigations.
Well, this issue, I hear, it's really disturbing. And let's speak to Seydou, Mustafa Seydou, and he is Director of Nature Development Foundation. He joins me right here in the studio. Good afternoon, Mustafa. Thanks for your time.
Good afternoon.
Well, so how serious is this issue?
Well, chainsaw logging, or let me say illegal logging, is serious and has been in the system for a very long time. What worsened the case was sometime in 1998 there was a law that banned the use of chainsaw to produce lumber.
Okay.
You see, what happens is that a tree is logged, is cut down, it is taken to the sawmill, it is splitted into the lumber or whatever product you want to make. However, before 1998, chainsaw machine was allowed to be used to split the logs into lumber.
Okay.
We thought as a nation that was very wasteful because, you know, when you're using the manual way of splitting the log, it creates a lot of waste. So in some way, somehow, we ban it. However, people got used to it before we ban it, and therefore they continue to do it. You also remember that getting chainsaw is not difficult. So individuals, you can just go to the market, you buy it, you can sneak into the forest, fell a tree, split it into lumber, however you carry it into the logs, you transport it into the market. So it's a huge, huge, huge issue. And a lot of people from communities, all sorts of people are involved in the chainsaw lumber
But
business.
Over the period, to check these illegal practice, there have been a lot of, measures to check. So we have forest guards, checking. Are you surprised that, despite the fact that we have all these, guards, we still have these, wood and all that coming out of our forests?
Yes, so I am a bit surprised, actually. First, if not anything at all, but the fact that the Forestry Commission and government itself has what they call the task force, yes, which comprises of the military and the police, very similar to what we have with the Galamsey guys. You think
they're not being effective enough?
No, they're not. They're not, because it hasn't reduced the amount of chainsaw. If anything at all, it's just because the timber companies are collapsing and they are getting smaller, and therefore they are not able to meet the export requirement. Okay. And therefore a lot of them have tended to produce for the domestic market. But the reduction or the increase of legal timber in the domestic market has nothing to do with the fact that the task force and whatever measures have been very useful in stemming the tide of illegal logging.
How can we deal with this issue? Is it very difficult for us?
Yes, so it's a multifaceted approach that we have to use. There's no one single approach. First is because someone would think about it from the livelihood point of view. Because to say it is a livelihood for some people depend on it, the community, of course. Again, we have the law enforcement part of it, so that somebody has to arrest them and prosecute them. If you don't have that part also working, there will still be that illegality. You still have to have the Forestry Commission as the institution mandated by law to be the one regulating and checking the management of forestry. If their workers are very complacent too, I bet you, no matter what you do, there will still be a way out. So we have the Forestry Commission, we have the law, so the task force and the police on the road. I guess you'll be surprised that, some of this wood may be coming as far as from the north, especially the rosewood. And you can imagine the number of roadblocks we have on this road, and then they're able to come. So it's a human institution and a lot of things that go on in terms of being able. So we need to be able to enforce our laws properly. We will need to be able to get together as community, because they are the ones who are very closer to this forest. And there's nobody who gets there when they are not aware. So
how will the passage of the public procurement policy in itself on timber and timber products help save our forests?
Yeah, my sister, I'm very happy you mentioned this. I didn't know you were going to mention, but this is something dear to my heart. So look at it, and I'll give an analogy. Government is against illegal chainsaw.
Exactly.
So you are spending so much money financing the task force. In fact, if you know how much the task force it costs government of Ghana to fight illegal logging on that part alone, it is huge. But on the other part, once it gets to the market, you are the same person who goes to buy it. So you are just defeating yourself. What you are doing is that, oh, okay, I'm against you bringing it, but anyway, when you bring it, I'm going to buy it. Right? So what are you telling the other person, the one who's bringing it? Oh, go ahead and bring it anyway. I'll buy it. So that's exactly what the government is doing. The fact that we do not have a law that mandates any publicly funded project to buy legal wood, what we are saying is that any illegal wood that finds itself into the market, we will consume it. And indeed, government appears to be the highest consumer in the market by the sheer volume of governmental project that goes on. So public procurement, we're not saying it will eliminate illegal logging, but first, it will reduce the amount of illegal material consumed in the local market. Second, it will show that government is showing a way, is leading by example, and telling private sector that if you want to be partner of us, and if you want to be paid by public fund, you will need to buy legal timber. If we don't do this, we just send the wrong signal to everybody on the chain.
Thank you. Mr. Mustafa,
You're
for
welcome.
joining us. I have been speaking with Mustafa Seidu, joining us in the studio. He is Nature Director of Nature Development Foundation, speaking to us on issue of depletion of our forest. This is still midday life. Let's move on to other stories. Move to the security sector, and she has hung her uniforms after 29 years of actively fighting to protect lives and property in Ghana. Effective November 30, 2017, COP Rosebio Atenga bowed out of the Ghana Police Service with lots of memory. In the following reports, Peter Kwadato takes a retrospective look at her 29-year policing journey. COP Rosebio Atenga is a native of the Upper East region of Ghana and was born on November 30, 1957. She had her GCE O-level certificate in 1974 at St. Francis Secondary School and A-level in 1976 from St. Monica's Secondary School. COP Rosebio Atenga went on to earn a degree in political science and a master's degree in public administration from the School of Administration, University of Ghana. She obtained a postgraduate certificate in public administration from the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, in 1985. COP Rosebio Atenga was enlisted into the Ghana Police Service in 1988 as officer cadet alongside the current IGP David Asantia Pietu, COP Patrick Tembela retired, COP Frank Edupoku retired, COP Ransford Moses Ninsen, among others. The then ASP Rosebio Atenga began her policing duties in the Tema region before being posted to the prosecution unit of the service, where she served for 12 years. COP Rosebio Atenga rose through the ranks, serving as the first female divisional and regional commander in Volta, Eastern, Central and the Accra regions. She left no stones unturned at every duty post, personally involved in the thick of policing to ensure criminals do not have a field day.
Ourselves, that we are up to the task, and that tonight is Operation Zero.
As a COP, Rosebio Atenga moved to the national headquarters as the Director General for Administration before being moved to head the research and planning and subsequently technical department of the Ghana Police Service. COP Rosebio Atenga was tipped by many watchers as a potential IGP, but that ambition never got to her before her statutory retirement. She would be remembered for her tough decisions as a regional commander, making her a toast of her subordinates who refer to her as Action Woman and Vim Lady, among others.
The law is no respecter of persons. Right now, in our custody, police custody, we have 2 military personnel who have run foul to the law. We also have in our custody policemen who have run foul to the law. So if you see a policeman committing an offense or a crime, you have to arrest him.
COP Rosebio Atenga also won many local and international awards for her commitment and dedication to duty. Residents of Imredane, a farming community in the Sekondi metropolis, Takoradi metropolis in the western region, are calling for an upgrade of their basic school at least to class 6. Children in the community from class 4 have to walk for about 2 hours to access the nearest educational facility in order to be able to further their education. Irama Smith has more.
It's about 6 o'clock, and like any other rural setting, the community is gradually waking up to tackle the challenges the day bring along. For the children, it means helping their parents sweep or going to the water pump to fetch water for the home as they prepare to leave for school. The younger ones can afford to linger as their school is just a stone's throw away from home. But for the elders, they have to start off early to make the long 12-kilometer walk to school.
Abiana abuatin na mukwanti wakwa na melejunu bat ninga me bompede o molukon memoshi enke yom no mo abedu asmedwem. Dear mission there, sister school for Nebim Suha, a bedroom morning in Abeco. Sabayan bet to me, I am from Anamwa, and go back to me, I'm a Calbi said school denus or the mark.
Those who get to stay behind also have their fair share of challenges. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4 wants to ensure that by 2030, all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. For the children of Imberdane in the Sekondi Takoradi metropolitan area of the Western region, this seems far-fetched until government intervenes in their situation. Imberdane is a settler community made up of farmers from mainly Volta, Ashanti, northern and indeed western regions. Cocoa farming is the mainstay of the people of Imberdane. The whole community, which is made up of about 70 families, is surrounded by a thick plantation of cocoa. And within this cocoa plantation, there are smaller settler communities where the children also have to trek to the Imberdane MA school. To ensure that their children are not denied of education, the community put up the Imberdane MA school. A caregiver, Ms. Vida Krampa, took up the challenge to manage the school. She is assisted by a senior high school graduate, the wife of one of the farmers. In your shot, a 2-bedroom apartment for the teachers. And just behind me is a class 1 to class 4. Now, this school has about 70 pupils, and we are told that most of these pupils come from the Imberdane community itself. Which class is this?
KG class.
This is a KG class. So what are these people doing? Who are they?
We've divided them into 2. So we let KG class 1, class 2, class 3 be in one classroom for that lady to teach. And the class 4 with the nursery, as we see now, and the KG. I want the government to bring in more teachers and the facilities too. We need a complete building for primary and each class for 1 teacher.
People like Prosper and his colleagues, the challenges are enormous. After class 4, no one can tell whether they will be able to continue to further their education or it will end there and they will join their parents on their cocoa farms. They need more teachers, they need more educational facilities so that they can be at least a little at par with their colleagues in well-resourced communities. Erama Smith reporting from Imberdane MA.
Migration experts have called on African governments to create job opportunities for the youth to help fight illegal migration. This follows the return of 127 illegal Ghanaian migrants from Libya, most of which endured near-death experiences.
Thousands of people have died in their quest to seek for better living conditions in Europe through illegal migration. At a town hall meeting on illegal migration, Information Minister Mustafa Hamid said government would restore hope for the youth in the country by speeding up job creation.
Every district has a resource base in our country. And then if we're able to develop these resources, add value to them and produce, we'll be able to increase household incomes. We'll be able to give better confidence to parents. Parents will be able to put money into the education of their children. Children will be better educated and better equipped with the relevant tools to stay in our country.
National Officer of the International Organization for Migration, Kojo Wilmots, stressed the need for migrant research centers to be set up in the country to provide psychosocial support for illegal migrants.
To ensure that their return is sustainable, if someone has undergone a lot of exploitation, has undergone a lot of inhumane treatment, has been abused, and has seen some of his colleagues and friends die. If you are thinking of resettling the person back into the society, you need to provide this psychosocial counseling support to effectively prepare the mind of the person to resettle back.
A returnee from the United Arab Emirates recounted her experience.
They will actually tell you they are taking you for medicals. Yes, to give you injections so that to protect you from maybe some diseases or sicknesses. It was actually a lie. That way, injection was actually given to you to work like a donkey. People wouldn't say the truth, but I have been there and I'm a living testimony to that. And I know what they are saying or whatever they are saying, it's a lie. So I'm pleading on the government to work on our labor system. Because if I'm working in Ghana and I'm being paid well, there's no way I'll go to someone else's country to go and suffer.
Other speakers called for more awareness creation about the dangers of illegal migration.
Only 37% of people living with HIV are receiving antiretroviral therapy, even though close to 300,000 persons are estimated to be infected. The AIDS Commission says it is projecting a 90% coverage of antiretroviral therapy by 2020 to improve health outcomes.
The AIDS Commission, the estimated national prevalence rate is pegged at 1.6%. In 2016, Ghana recorded 20,418 new infections. Out of this number, 17,375 are above 15 years and 3,043 are under 14. Prevalence rate among female sex workers is also pegged at 7%. Project Director, USAID, Strengthening the Care Continuum, Dr. Henry Nagai, expressed concern about major challenges the vulnerable and marginalized persons in society face in accessing health and social services they urgently need.
There are cost barriers where people cannot travel to the treatment center to get treatment. We also have a situation of bad practice, where it's to do with attitude of the client going for the service or the attitude of the service provider. And these are things that we are working together with the Ghana Health Service on. There is some discrimination at the general population level, and also discrimination when people access services.
Director of Research, Monitoring and Evaluation at Ghana AIDS Commission, Treme Etiahene, said although Ghana's fight to eliminate HIV/AIDS seems to be progressing steadily, preventive interventions must be scaled up to consolidate gains.
It is important for people who do not know their HIV status to prioritize and be desirous to know their HIV status, because if you know, then if you are positive, you know that there is treatment and you can access treatment to ensure that you live productive life.
He regretted stigmatization and discrimination still remains a huge barrier for persons living with HIV/AIDS. To ensure that no one is left behind in the global efforts to end AIDS by 2030 and in line with the Sustainable Development Goals, the AIDS Commission is embarking on targeted interventions to reach every sector of society.
And on the phone lines by Raymond Aholu. He is the Greater Accra chairperson of the Network of Persons Living with HIV and AIDS, NAPLAS Ghana, and joins me now. Thanks, Raymond, for joining us. Hello, Raymond. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, so how easily accessible are antiretroviral drugs? Because according to the reports, about 39% of people living with AIDS are receiving antiretroviral therapy.
Yeah, thank you very much. What I would like to say right now is that our accessing antiretroviral now is not difficult as it has been for the past 2 years now. Now the drug is available. There's no stock out, and everybody have his time that he goes to he or her hospital to access back. So getting drug, there is no much problem.
Well, so how would you access Ghana's fight, against HIV and AIDS?
Come again.
I'm asking how you access Ghana's fight against, HIV and AIDS over the last decade.
What I'm saying is that the drug, there is no any difficulty in getting the drugs anymore. So the drugs are available.
Okay.
Getting it is not more a problem for us anymore. Yeah.
Well, so, okay, so the Ghana National HIV and AIDS Strategic Plan for 2016 to 2020, which aims to provide preventive services to key population and also strengthen community systems. Do you foresee us achieving 2020?
Yeah, I do. But what we are saying here is that we always advocate for the local manufactured drugs. Despite that, for the past 2 years now, we are not having issue antiretroviral anymore. But we want to have our local manufactured drugs made here, and it is here. So that is what we have been appealing to the government, that they should try and contact the company which is responsible for that. Because we have visited the company a lot, and we have seen they have the capacity to deliver. So the government to make one with the company so that we can have the antiretroviral therapy here, so that there will not be any problem at all with the person with HIV.
All right, thanks so much for talking to us. I have been speaking with Raymond Aholu, and he is the Greater Accra chairperson of the network of persons living with HIV and AIDS, NAPLAS Ghana, speaking to us on issues regarding HIV in the country. And this is still Midday Live. Stay with us. We'll come back with more stories. Thanks for staying with us. Let's move on. And despite the provision of a reliable irrigation system and ready markets, post-harvest losses still remains a major challenge facing smallholder farmers. Local rice farmers at Sagakapa in the Volta region are at their wits' end to find a solution, but wants urgent intervention from government to get results.
Ghana currently imports over $500 million worth of foreign rice annually. Though local rice farmers do not support a total ban on importation of foreign rice at the expense of local production, they believe policies on restrictions must be enforced to give the local rice farmers comparative advantage.
That can be the only drive to promote local production, to increase volumes of rice production in the country. Those people have got a lot of advantages over African farmers. They've got all the equipment, the technology is very high, and we are still struggling. Everything that we do is labor intensive, and it's unfair to try and compare a farmer in Africa with a farmer in Europe.
Farmers say demand for local rice, which is a staple food in Ghana, is growing faster. They attributed this to the awareness creation among Ghanaians on health benefits of local rice. Gadco Company Limited in Sogakope produces 3 tons of rice per hour, but officials believe the company can do more if given the needed support.
The capacity of the machine is that it can work for 22 hours, but because of manpower issues and electricity cost and other things, I thought we work for just 8 hours.
Right from the farm, the harvested rice goes through the elevator drying machine, then into the silos where it stays for 2 weeks to prevent more broken rice. The rice is then processed and separated into grades, packaged into the various sacks ready for market. Managing Director for Gadco Ghana Limited, Mukozo, said Ghana has enough capacity to produce the quantity of rice to meet consumer needs in Ghana.
Ghana has got the highest potential of producing rice, not only just rice, but high quality rice. And that rice can actually be very affordable to final consumer.
Farmers explained local rice production in the country is now receiving support through marketing. But this does not come without huge electricity cost.
Now we are paying electricity bill, 1 hectare we are paying 10 million.
Previously we used to have issue with marketing, but thankfully this year we have a collaboration with Copa, Rienco, and then that marketing problem is solved. So what we are hoping from government is that there will be, first of all, a policy that should protect farmers from the electricity tariff rates.
Post-harvest losses has also dealt a big blow to them. The work is very good. We only need government to extend our lands. While 2017 has witnessed an increase in the purchase of local rice over imported ones, local rice farm managers believe developing and sustaining the sector is not the sole responsibility of government.
Rice is a major staple food widely consumed in Ghana, and as agriculture is developing, local rice farmers are producing quality long-grain rice. There's therefore a call on Ghanaians to develop the taste for made in Ghana rice.
Smallholder farmers at Sogakope in the Volta region now have an all-year-round farming opportunity through the pump house irrigation from the Volta Lake that distributes water to the various farm fields.
Now to some good news to Lotto operators, and in the coming days, Lotto operators will see improvements in their operations. This is because government has introduced a bill in Parliament to remove taxes on the winnings in the country. Director General of the NLA, Kofi Osei Ameyao, is optimistic this will bring some sanity in the sector.
The decision follows proposals by the National Lotteries Authority, NLA, to the Ministry of Finance for the scrapping of taxes paid by Lotto agents as a way of attracting more mainstream operators. The Mahama administration imposed a 5% tax on all Lotto winnings exceeding 2,592 following a reclassification of Lotto as an investment activity. A Deputy Minister of Finance, Kweku Kwarteng, on Wednesday, 29 November 2017, laid the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill 2017 on the floor of Parliament to remove the tax. Director General of National Lotteries Authority, Kofi Osei Ameyao, is optimistic this will contribute to government's drive for revenue generation.
By removing it, it is going to bring more people. And don't forget that when they don't win, all the revenue comes to government. So what you need to measure is the amount of revenue that we would collect when they don't win, as opposed to the monies that are going to the illegal operations, which doesn't come to government.
General Secretary of the Lotto marketing companies, Kofi Frimpong, was hopeful this will promote efficiency in their work.
We are highly elated by this good news. With the taxes, in fact, it reduced. So stakers decided to go to the banker to banker. Now, that alone, I mean, created a problem for us, our people on the market. But with this, our prodigal players will come back in their numbers.
The tax waivers are expected to take effect from 2018 when Parliament approves the 2018 budget.
Stay with us, we have sports coming up next. And that's it for international news. Let's do entertainment now. And the 2017 S concert was lit full of fun and well patronized. Owusu Arai, however, reports 3 headline acts, Samini, Ebony and Mr. Easy, missed the opportunity to perform. Shatta Wale performed 58 songs in 2 hours.
That's it.
At Accra Sports Stadium right about now, Shatta Wale has been on stage for almost 2 hours, and there are a lot of artists waiting to also mount the stage. Samini hasn't performed, Mr. Easy hasn't performed, Ebony hasn't performed, and it's 4 a.m. Samini is waiting to mount the stage, and basically there is some confusing of a sort here. Samini's people are trying to get on stage. They are trying to get on stage. So let's go and take some shots. No.
There's no confusion here. Just take your time.
perform so the gods.
First and foremost, it's like it's been on the stage for long. You understand? It's not the one supposed to perform. Somebody has to come before him, and it's been there for long. And what's the meaning of that? Shatta have been on stage for hours. You are there are artists like Mr. Easy, Samini, Ebony, Fancy Gandam, who should also perform. And it's now 4 o'clock. So what time are we waiting for him to leave stage? Samini just left the venue. Ebony has also left the venue. It doesn't appear Shatta Wale will be exiting stage any moment from now.
Before the stage, me vex, you know, because me see enough sabotage. You don't see the sabotage, them not like it at all. Ebony vex, he go. Samini have left go. Yeah, because the man them vex.
This is not the first time this is happening, but what I want to say is that the event organizer should let the artist know the duration he will perform, maybe 2 hours, 1 hour, so that the artist will be aware. He wouldn't spend more than that on stage. So seriously, this is getting out of hand. This is the third time Samini and Shatta Wale issue is happening like this. And the show has ended without a lot of artists performing. Shatta Wale is now leaving the venue at Caspo Stadium.
Well, interesting, the 2017 S concert recorded some amazing highlights. Shatta Wale slapped his bodyguard on stage for abusing a fan who jumped on stage during his performance. That was a major highlight on the night.
All right, so this is the morning after the 2017 S concert, and it happened at the Accra Sports Stadium. It was an amazing show. Late. A lot of amazing performances. So we saw Captain Planet mountain stage to do his hit with Joe Bigel and it there. Also talking about S Concert 2017, we had other interesting highlights. Shatta Wale. A lot of the fans, die-hard fans, wanted to go and then have some moments with him. So a fan got on stage. The security guys came in to pull him off stage. He actually slapped the security guy, and that was one of the shocking moments.
If I perform, make nobody jump come the stage. I don't make anybody do unity. You understand? But we just enjoy it. I know I enjoy it. You know I enjoy it.
Well, interesting. I know that the entertainment guys are going to have a field day, have a lot of discussion around this issue. Well, that's all we have for you by way of news this afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is AC Benewa Otu. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Good afternoon.
Hey, I'm late. What did he say? On Facebook. Hold on, I'm checking on my tablet.
Hello? Has now reported to the office. At this time?
Right here on Facebook. Look at the time. I need to go to work. I'm so late.
Young lady, the days where workers come to the office late, chat online the whole day, and leave the office before 5 are over.
This is how we've been doing things here all the time.
Change has come to Ghana, and it means our attitude must change. You are fired.
You are paid to work in your office. Respect your office by practicing proper time management. This public service announcement is brought to you by the Ministry of Information.